What is happening, fam? So today I got an exciting video today. This one I'm kind of excited about because I'm like I told you guys in the other video that I'm just curious about if a carbon fiber drive shaft would kind of improve the drivability of the car a little bit just by taking away some of that NVH. Will I feel a performance upgrade or anything like that? You know what I mean? I'm trying to jump straight into it. So today we will be installing the Driveshaft Shop carbon fiber one-piece drive shaft. So yeah, I'm sitting up here looking at this thing on the bench right now. It looks beautiful. No one's gonna ever see the thing, but let's take a look at it real quick. All right, so here we go, man. This is the carbon fiber drive shaft from Driveshaft Shop, and you know it has a bunch of stickers on here. And some of these things say in here, it says removal of this sticker may cause warranty claim to be denied. So I guess that means that's staying on there until it wears itself off or whatever. But this is it in its entirety. Now, I'm trying to prepare myself to do this install because I did hear that you have to, that you may have to drill your differential to make the holes bigger. And let me tell you why that is. So the reason why that is because let me get this hardware out of here real quick. So I'll talk about that later. Here we go. So in this box, I got a whole bunch of bolts and all types of crap. But like I said, I'll get into that in a minute. This is what actually came with it. It came with these right here. Came with 4 bolts. Well, it came with 5 because it has an extra one, and it comes with locking nuts. Now, looking at this thing, looking at these, I can tell already that the let's see if I can get this open. These bolts definitely look way thicker than what comes on the stock differential for the STI Diff. So in preparation for this, I came up with a couple of things that I'm gonna try and use in this place. But whenever we get to that point, we'll talk about it, and then I'll kind of show you guys what I got. But I kind of got something to combat that issue. So hopefully this works out the way I want it to. If not, I even got a fail safe too. So I got 2 options I can go with, but we'll see which one we're gonna go with because I'm not into. I don't want to drill into anything or kind of, you know, make anything a little bit bigger just to fit this thing, because then it's going to prevent you from going back to stock to a degree. So this is the drive shaft, and we're going to get up underneath the car, take the stock one out. We're going to take the stock one out and put that thing in. It shouldn't be too hard of a job. You only really got to take off the heat shield. I'm going to try not to have to take off the exhaust. Take off the heat shield and then do the bolts that are connected to the diff, and then take out the center bearing bolts. So let's talk a little bit about what my expectations of this thing, to see if these things change. So I kind of got to lay out some groundwork of what I'm expecting to try and see an improvement on. So let's get into that real quick. All right, so what I'm hoping is going to happen here. So I kind of wrote down a few little questions that I wanted to kind of ask, just to try to see if they, just to ask myself to see what am I looking for, what am I experiencing with the current setup right now. So something that I did notice that I have not mentioned to you guys yet is that one time I was getting a little aggressive, shifting through the gears. You know, I went from first to second, that was fine. And then when I tried to get into third gear, I couldn't get into third gear all the way. And I think it could have been me, could have been how I engaged the clutch. Maybe I didn't push it in far enough because, you know, I did adjust the clutch. But it happened to me a couple of times, and I was kind of curious to say, I'm wondering what that is. And like I said, it could be me, but I'm gonna see if shifting through the gears is smoother. If having that less of a weight of a rotating mass, if that helps that out or not. Will it decrease the NVH that I'm feeling, you know, in the car, especially since I added that rear diff carrier from Torque Solutions. I've heard that there is somewhat of a transmission whine especially when you're going down in gears and you're slowing down the speed. There is that. So I'm trying to see if, just if it'll eliminate that. That's part of the NVH thing. So seeing if that'll go away, and how is it going to be, shifting between gears as far as for, there being a less rotating mass, the timing of my gear shifts, if I'm going to have to adjust that at all. Now, looking it up, I mean, the stock drive shaft from STI is 18.5 pounds, and the Driveshaft Shop, our carbon fiber drive shaft is 12.95 pounds. So that's quite a bit of a weight loss in rotating mass, so that we should feel that. Now, I did some research, and I've seen out there where some people said that they got anywhere from 10 to 12 wheel horsepower, and if just from changing the drive shaft, and the same thing, like 10 to what did it say? 10 to 14 foot-pound of torque increase just by changing out the drive shaft. So will I feel that in with the butt dyno? I don't know, but like I say, we're gonna find that out. Like I say, this is kind of exciting, but I'm just trying to, I want to see what my thoughts will be of the drive shaft, putting it on there. But so behind all of that, I'm gonna try and give as real world as a review as I can on this to see how it drives. But first, we got to do the main thing, which is getting it in. So let's go ahead and let's make preparations, get up underneath the car, take the stock one out, and we'll get this drive shaft put in. So let's go through that little process. All right, here now, under the car. Hard to be up underneath this thing with this big old camera, but plan of attack here is going to be to remove this heat shield right here. So it's going to be 4 12mm bolts. And then once we remove this, we'll have access to the rear, the center bearing right here. We'll be able to get to that guy right there. Both those two bolts, those are 14s. And back here in the back here, this is going to be 12 millimeter nuts to get these studs out of there. I kind of started them. I just got to do one more and then take the bolts out of there. And then we'll remove the heat shield and the stock drive shaft. Hopefully, I'm gonna have to set myself up here. Hopefully we don't lose any transmission fluid. We shouldn't, but I'm gonna make sure kind of grab me a towel and a pan or something like that to catch anything that may come out. We may have to refill it a little bit, but hopefully not. But that's kind of what we got here. So I'm gonna put you guys on a time lapse, and then I'm gonna take all of this stuff off and get it out of there and see if we're gonna have any issues with leaking or anything. So let's get this thing started. All right, y'all, so we are losing a little bit of fluid. So, not a lot, but I kind of need to get this moving. So looking at the bolts that came with this thing, they don't fit. So I had to come up with a solution. So let me stab this thing in there and show you guys kind of what I wanted to do here, just so I can stop losing so much fluid here. So I got these little inserts. And I'll show you a picture over here in a second, but I'm trying to get this going. But what I'm gonna try and do here is I got longer bolts. They're Allen size bolts. Those, and I got some lock washers, some nylon lock washers as well. And what I'm gonna do with these is so that I'm filling in this gap, because I got bolts that'll fit through here. See these bolts, the bolts that I got do fit through here, and I got them to be a little longer. What I'm gonna do is that they'll thread into these, and what I'm gonna do is put this inside of here. So if I put that inside of there like that, I can put that up against the diff. So this would be like a washer in between that, making sure it doesn't move as much, where I can use skinnier bolts, the way that it's filling up the gap inside of there, as you can see. Because looking in there, see how that looks like that? So let's take that out of there. And if I put the bolt in there, it's gonna move around too much. So to give me a little bit of slop. But having this in there, this little insert in the sleeve, it's threaded, I can thread this into there and then put the nylon washer right behind it. So let me get this thing stabbed in real quick, then I'll show you guys what I mean. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna put all 4 of these inserts in like that, and then sit it up against the differential to hold them in place. And then I'll be able to line it up and then put the bolts in and start threading them through there. Now actually, ouch. Let me see if there's a better way I could do this. So now I did get washers. So I got some washers that'll fit. So I got a lock washer. So I'm gonna put this lock washer on here, a regular washer, and then start threading this thing through here. So feed that through right there. Then at that point, I should be able to thread this on there a little bit. And like I said, see this, it threads on. And I'm just gonna get it to where it's flat. But I threaded it on there so that it's flat on there. So I'm gonna do the rest of them the same way. And then I'll lift it in there. And then we'll get to tightening this thing up. All right, here, y'all. I'm looking at this and I think it's gonna be a tad bit too much play between that and there. So I'm gonna try it a different way. So I'm gonna turn you guys off. I'm gonna try and see how I'm gonna set this thing up, and whenever I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. I'll show you guys what I did. All right, y'all, so let me hip y'all to what I did. I pretty much made my own stock style bushings or bolts. So basically, this is what the little sleeve I told you about. Like I said, I'm gonna show you where I got all this stuff from Ace Hardware. So I'm gonna give you the numbers to everything that I have, so you can kind of know what to go into Ace Hardware to go and get. But this is this is that little sleeve I told you about. And I'm gonna show y'all under the car what I figured out. So what I wound up doing is right here, I kind of made a flat spot right there. So I used my Dremel, filed that down to where it's a nice flat edge, and I kept test fitting it. That way then I pretty much made my own version of this. So that's the stock bolt. So there, that way then I can put the same size bolt in there and not have to drill it out. And this right here is gonna protect the actual threads and be like a little spacer in between there, so that there's no wiggle room for the bolt to travel in. So I'm gonna show you guys something. Okay, here. So now at first, I thought I was gonna have to shave this part down a little bit, but I figured out something for that. So I put a little bit of lock washer that fits around this as like a spacer. That way then it'll be flush on the other side, so that and I'll show you guys when I get into the car. The drive shaft sits flush against the diff, the differential. Now this, remember before I put this in there and put this in between the diff. Now this time I'm gonna go on this side. That's how I created that flat spot. And then right now, put a washer on the Allen head bolt that I got. And these are grade 8 bolts like stock. Put this in here and screw it all the way down on there. And there, that's my bolt. And then all I got to do is just slide that in there. So I'm gonna show you how I do that here in a second. I'm gonna get into the car and I'll show you guys. Okay, so as y'all can see now, it's flush. Before I had it in between here, so this couldn't be flush. Kind of didn't like that. So now I flipped it this way. And hold on, where's my bolt at? Here it is. So now, all I gotta do now is put this flat edge against this little spot right there. And there it is, it fits right in there, flush. And it's good to go. Then all I gotta do is put my lock washer in there. Hold on, let me put you guys down. All right, put that in there like that. Get my lock nut. Put this on here. And the cool thing about this is the car can stay in neutral and the e-brake can stay off and you can still tighten it. That's all you gotta do is hold it with your Allen. There we go. All tightened on there. Okay, so right now that's super smooth. Let's get to go. Dude, I don't feel any of that vibration, dude. It's all gone. Dang. Man, dude, a lot. And I'm telling you, a lot of the initial vibration that I feel driving in the car is gone. Now I do kind of hear a little bit of that, the Mod Twin. I don't know if it's just me trying to get in the third, but initially, all of that vibration and that NVH that I feel when I was driving, the car feels smooth, dude. Okay. But initially, the car seems way more subtle. I don't feel, it's not all of that you know, mean vibration coming out of the shift knob, taking off. I don't feel that vibration anymore. All right, fam. So this is my plan. God dang, dude. I'm real talk, y'all. No BS. Dude, the car feels super smooth. It almost feel like something is wrong because it's like there's like zero vibration. I don't feel anything in the shift knob anymore. It's like minimal to no vibration. Just the fact that the car feels super smooth now, it's way smoother, is enough. Well, I still don't want to say it's $1,200 worth, but it's, I don't know, man. And then, dude, the butt dyno is like, hey, it's definitely, the car is way more peppier. I don't know if I want to say it's that slingshot effect. Like I say, I only just rode down the road a little bit. I need to put some time on it, drive it to work, get on the highway with it, see how it feels. That way then I can give you guys an accurate assessment of how I think that the Driveshaft is performing. But right off the rip, I'm already happy with it because there's a noticeable difference in the NVH, especially when you start the car up and then when you're running it. Now I do hear the Mod Twin more. I'll say that. I do hear the clutch more because now all that other stuff, all the other vibrations and stuff are gone. And I really think it's coming from that little center bearing. But man, it feels way better, dude. And when I get on the gas, dude, it really like it tries to scoop, fool. But like I said, I'm gonna put some more time on it, and then I'll give you guys a more accurate assessment of how the car's performing. So I'm about to clean up my mess in here and then prepare myself to do some driving. And then I'll let you guys know. If I come up with anything sooner than that, I'll let you know. And then I'll wrap the video up and y'all will see exactly what I'm talking about.